Hello everyone, welcome back. My name's Dustinkreis, and today we're going to do another video response. Why not? I watched a video by ReturnToMotherBase, and he's talking about, as one of his nerd questions, where he's talking about romance in video games. And I thought to myself, yeah, that's something I could talk about. So I figured, why not make a video response? It's a little late because Valentine's Day has come and gone, but oh well. And for the most part, I'm a big sucker for love stories. You know, the 10th Doctor and Rose, I'm a big sucker for that. I'm a big sucker for Buffy and Angel. I'm a big sucker for Buffy and Spike. I like a well-told love story. And the problem is, I feel like a lot of stuff out there is not really told well. I feel like it's just over the top, too schmaltzy, and what I want is a really sort of heart-tugging love story. And, you know, video games, except for one video game, which I consider to be the greatest love story ever told in a video game, I don't really feel like video games have really been able to approach that yet, but we're getting close. We're getting close to video games really being able to tell a cinematic novel-like story. Not there yet, but we're getting close. So I picked out some games to talk about, and I'm going to try not to do this, you know, too long, but just some games out there that I feel like has a really great love story that kind of sticks with me. And we're going to start off with my favorite game of all time, Final Fantasy VI or Final Fantasy III, depending on what version you find. The story between Locke, Celes, and Locke's past with Rachel, I find to be a story that really sticks with me, and it's a kind of a great example of how early games really start to branch out and tell a much more deep story. And I really credit Final Fantasy VI with being the one that really opened my eyes, going, holy crap, they can really do stuff with this medium instead of just Mario saving the princess again. So, gotta get that in there. Sticking with Final Fantasy really does do a lot of love stories. I really enjoyed the story between Squall and Rinoa. You know, that's the entire purpose for this game. Final Fantasy VIII is a love story. And I think that, coupled with the junction system, is why a lot of people look back on this as kind of one of the black sheep, because it's not, you know, a brooding, you know, anti-hero going in to save the world. It's this guy, well, is this brooding anti-hero softening up and falling in love with a pretty lady. So, I mean, there's other stuff that goes on in the game other than that, but I was really enthralled by the love story between those two. And it is the reason to play the game. This one is kind of a... I really hope they take it somewhere. It seems like in the series this is more of a platonic love story than anything else, but I really love Sora and Kairi. And then sort of how Riku is sort of like... I always looked at it as a love triangle where you know that Sora and Kairi... I'm sorry, this is Kingdom Hearts, by the way. Sora and Kairi are in love with each other, and Riku's kind of like, you know, in love with Kairi, but it's unrequited. I always like to sort of create that in my head. The games don't really go that far with the storyline, maybe because they're just kids in the first one, and maybe when we get to, finally, if we ever get to Kingdom Hearts 3, they'll start to explore a more romantic subplot, but probably not. But I always like the story with Sora and Kairi, and it's almost more of a unsaid thing, because it's like when I watch the opening intro to Kingdom Hearts 2 with you know, Sanctuary. I guess I always put more into it, that the song, when you listen to the lyrics of Sanctuary and you think about Sora and Kairi, you know, maybe it's just something that the series hasn't touched yet, but maybe it's just me putting more into it than what's there. Let's talk about... Yeah, let's go ahead and just go in the list, or the order I have them. Surprising. This is a surprisingly well-told love story, I thought. Especially considering the game that it's in, because usually this game is kind of along the lines of a very macho, like, you know, men play this game, you know, we drink... You know, we drink straight whiskey and we punch each other when we play this game. But I found that it's a very tender love story. a lot of things remain unsaid in it, and I think that's something I like a lot in love stories, when things remain unsaid, and that's Halo 4. Really blew me away. Seeing, I mean, it makes perfect sense. The Master Chief and Cortana have been through all this stuff, and to see him, what the lengths he would go to save what is really not technically a real person, just an AI, with the lengths that John would go to save Cortana. Really, just an amazing storyline, and one of the best reasons to play the game. I mean, the graphics are great, the gameplay's great, but the storyline, man, this takes Halo 4 into a much different direction, and I give 343 a lot of credit for doing that. So definitely check out Halo 4. Keeping in that same vein, this is a very well-told storyline, and I really wish that they would do a sequel to it, although I don't know how they would do it, but Enslaved, Odyssey to the West. I love the story between Monkey and Trip, and just the amazing facial animations that they did on these characters. It really sells the storyline, and while it never gets to the point of romantic love, you feel like that if a sequel were ever to be made, those two that's when they would fall in love. And there's just, I don't know, it's just, this game has so much action and adventure into it, and then there's just these story moments that are just so quiet and tender in a way that it really, kind of tugs at your heartstrings. Also, this one is, this game doesn't get enough recognition. It's overshadowed by the first game in the series, and I feel like it's just kind of forgotten by a lot of people. And most people, when they talk about Lunar, they're going to say Alex and Luna. Okay. But for me, it's Hero and Lucia, and Eternal Blue. This sets out from the very start to be a love story, and when I played this, I didn't play this version yet, but when I played this on the PS2, I was just like, oh my god, this is great, this is fantastic. Why do people knock Eternal Blue so much? Just really enjoyed sort of how Hero humanizes this alien Lucia, and by the end of the beginning, she's just a killing machine, but by the end of it, she really becomes a beautiful woman. And there's so many little things. There are two scenes that happen to take place at a lake, and it shows the growth of the character of Lucia so well. The first time she's bathing naked in a lake, and Hero just happens to spy on her, and she's like just standing there fully naked, like, you don't see it or anything. Don't worry about the kids. You don't see it or anything, but Hero's like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, and she's just like, what are you talking about? And then the next time that they have a sort of similar interaction, Lucia is very embarrassed by her nakedness, and that's to represent her awakening as a human being, because as human beings, we're really kind of embarrassed by our own nakedness in a lot of ways. So it really shows sort of the growth of the character. But Lunar too. I really hope that they keep remaking Silver Star's story over and over again. I really hope they go back to Eternal Blue, because I might dare say it, I might like Eternal Blue better than Silver Star's story. Last three games here, and then we'll get to my favorite love story of all time. I'm going to talk about To the Moon for a second, just so I don't forget about it before I get to the end. Really a great love story, sort of told from the perspective of the end of the love story. I don't want to talk too much about it, because really the entire reason to play the game is to experience the storyline. But To the Moon is one of those games that really sticks with me, and I think it really shows what the medium can do with love stories. Anyway, getting back to it, Shulk and Fiora from Xenoblade really surprised me how much I actually cared about these two. And through the events of the storyline, you really are kind of put through the paces with these two. So I don't want to talk too much, because it is kind of a big reveal what happens in this game. But if you haven't checked that out, definitely check it out. As you see, I'm starting to speed up because I don't want this video to be too long. And then, of course, I can't talk about Xenoblade without talking about the last story. And like Final Fantasy VIII, this is built from the ground up to be a love story. And the story between Oh, sorry. Zale and what was it? Camila? I can't remember her name now. It's slipping me. Crap. Anyway, the love story between the two main characters. It really surprised me how mature it was, because she knows that she can't be with this guy, and he knows that too. But it's just like they don't seem to care. It's like they're just drawn to each other, and you know, parts of the story fall flat, but there's just the initial stages of the game where they're interacting with each other and kind of flirting with each other, I find to be very very enjoyable. So, and then here we get to the greatest love story ever told in video games. Sit down and get ready, because it's going to knock you on your ass. Dragon Warrior 1. King says, hey, go save that bitch. And you're like, alright, I'm going to go save that bitch from that dragon. Go down that cave, save that bitch. Then the king says, hey, go beat that dragon lord, and you can marry her. Alright, I'm going to go do it. I'm going to go do it. I beat him. Oh, I get to marry her and get my own kingdom? Fantastic. Best love story ever told. Alright. I don't know what the hell that was. Anyway, guys, that's my video response. So definitely check out Return to Mother Base's original video. Make a response to his if you want to talk about love stories in video games. But after that Dragon Warrior thing, I gotta go and drink or something. I don't know. So anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. Take care. I'll see you next time.